Hey guys!
Welcome back.
Welcome to Sisational with Jac and Leah.
Thank you guys so much for coming back. I didn't mean to say that.
What?
I meant to say thank you guys so much for joining back in with us today.
What did you say initially?
I said coming back.
But then you're like,
they're not going anywhere.
Like, what was the thing you sang?
Because I'm like, coming back to what? Then I'm like, I'm trying to fix it.
Then you guys are coming back to this audio. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I messed up on the word. I meant to say thank you for tuning back in. That's what I meant to say. And it came
Thank you for tuning in with Jac and Leah.
Oh, Jac, yeah.
No. My goodness, it's a week after our last episode, which was a heavy hitter.
That was a heavy hitter.
In terms of content. Vulnerability.
Yeah, we love the real talk.
And we are keeping that track going today.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a consistent vibe for the month of February, I think.
The idea was that since, I guess, just Valentine's Day happens in February, we were going to try to theme it a little bit with the topics of the podcast around relationships.
Yeah, love and the relationships with ourselves and other people besides love interests too, like that have benefited our lives.
Yeah, exactly. So it's intentional.
Yeah.
It's not really too redundant either because we're talking about more stuff today that we didn't talk about last time because we were trying to be a little more focused on dealing with a particular day last week. This week, we're going into kind of a past versus present situation.
With marriage.
With marriage, with our relationships with our spouses, and also like who we were versus who we are now.
Right. And so that way you guys can kind of know also, I mean, where Jac and I came from to the present time, like who we were years ago to like now, and what our partners have had to like go through with us, essentially.
Right.
It's a lot of change.
So the first thing we kind of wanted to talk about was who each of us was when we met our future spouses.
Our boyfriends. Yeah, our boyfriends and fiancés and husbands.
So again, we're trying to kind of paint a picture because the idea is that we are not the same people. And we're going to talk about those differences, but we've changed so much. And a lot of people talk about how they've changed and they've fallen out of love. They've changed and they aren't compatible anymore with those changes. And something that's really interesting to me is that, I'm not saying it's all been sunshine and roses, but we have adapted together because, I guess in a sense, we also got together really early in our lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. So who I was when I met Noah, I was 17 years old. I had had plenty of crushes, but had never officially dated anybody.
Okay. Yes, you had lots of crushes.
I did. Yeah. I was very Christian, as you can relate.
Well, and I also don't like that term now, like very Christian. Oh, it was like a real Christian. Like it's a
too like fundamentalist Christian. I later kind of pointed out how it was a lot of my identity. So I was very Christian. I'm going to stick with that because it's like an extreme form of Christian. It really is. Even as a kid, but continuing into being a teenager, I took everything seriously. Yes. I mean, everything in my life. And in terms of what being a Christian looked like to me, I mean, I'd be the first to tell you back then that going to church wasn't an indication of whether or not you were saved. But we went to church. We were very, very heavily participating in everything. Yeah. I led like the kids' Christmas programs for a while. I like built the church's website. Yeah. Our dad was a pastor for the time and there was extra pressure about that. So full on kind of submerged in that. And I think like you had written down, didn't question anything,
never
really.
Questioned it.
I would question some things sometimes, but those questions would still be limited to the perspective that other things were true. So I never had like objective questions I was asking myself. It was always...
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You know what I'm saying? It was always through a lens of, well, this and this is true, so what about that?
No, because it's also like, I felt like we weren't allowed. Like, oh my God, how dare you question this?
Yeah.
So,
and the times that I did, the times that I had some questions that were tricky to answer, I was met with some irritation when things just weren't a cutthroat answer, like a quick and easy answer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because everything has to be quick and easy.
Yeah, or, you know, you're kind of being stubborn for not just...
Going with it,
getting with the program. Mm-hmm. And at 17, I was a dreamer. I was relatively quiet with a subdued personality. I do think it depended a lot with who I was around.
Mm-hmm.
I did have a slightly edgy sense of humor even then.
You did.
But I would really lean into it when I felt comfortable. And sometimes I would use it as like a way to kind of test friendships with people. Like, could I be how I am right now? Is this what makes them laugh? Or am I going to have to like not be that way? And
masking.
Kinda, yeah.
And also sometimes you would do it to help like ease the vibe of the room. Like
I would do it a lot in the family.
Happened.
Like I would do it a lot amongst each other. Like
I felt like you always, even if like there was some pushback by like, that was bad timing, or just something stupid, a stupid comment was made by like a parent in the room, you would still like look like you knew like it was funny.
Yeah.
You like, yes. I feel like it never got you down. Like you were like, yeah, it was still funny.
It did get me down, but there's moments where I still felt proud for what I said.
For doing it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
High fives.
In fact, the first time that Noah and I hung out as friends, it was kind of chilly outside.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just surrounded by boats and we were like on the water on these docks, right?
Right.
Such a small town vibe right here.
Yes.
I'm painting the picture here. I went out and I was walking towards him and I only knew him from like our youth group. Okay, like that's the context. And I was like, it's chilly. Like, do you want my sweatshirt? I have a shirt on underneath is literally what I said.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And
I remember this.
Yes.
I remember you telling me this.
I thought it was hilarious.
That was really
like,
funny.
What an icebreaker. And he laughed. Like, he was laughing, and it was kind of bizarre. Like, I drive up on a four-wheeler. I think I might have even been wearing this sweatshirt. I'm wearing this old sweatshirt that I've had for like a decade, and it says Abu Garcia, which is like a fishing company. Like, it's really obscure. I've had this for forever. I'm wearing it braless with amazing leggings, and I'm telling you,
it's a vibe. That you just got in today.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's a vibe in here. But anyway, I'm wearing my huge Abu Garcia sweatshirt, and and I'm walking up to Noah. We're both 17. I'm driving up my four-wheeler, real scandalous. I'm wearing like muck boots.
Real sexy.
Those really thick muck boots.
Yeah.
I think I was wearing those with my hair down. It was like a real
wow, that's
real
a
look.
whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe. A whole redneck white trash vibe. I stroll up in the four-wheeler, and I'm like, it's kind of chilly. Like, do you want my sweatshirt? I have a shirt underneath, like, you know. And that was like our little icebreaker. So anyway, for the culture that we were in, I did have a little bit of an edgy sense of humor.
I never thought about it that way. That's really
But I just really lean into it even more now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about who I was at this time, like I said, I took everything seriously. So even something as simple as like song lyrics.
I empathize with that.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing.
It was kind of a thing. I would hyper analyze the lyrics of songs to see if they would be too sinful to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't even have cuss words necessarily, and I'd be trying to see like, what did it imply? What does it mean? So for example, I would feel slightly guilty listening to one of Coldplay's songs that Noah and I both loved a lot. It was called Hymn for the Weekend. You guys probably all know it. But because of the lyrics, feeling drunk and high, even though it wasn't about drugs, I was still like, but is it like,
but this lyric
is it bad? Yeah. And then like in another sense, I'd feel guilty a little bit to listening to Gabrielle Aplin's song Salvation.
Yeah.
For the very reason that the story is that her boyfriend had been really supportive when one of her family members had been ill.
Wow.
And the song is, you know, You're My Salvation. And it's a gorgeous song.
Oh, so pretty.
Gorgeous. And I fell in love with it, but I was like, is it simple to listen to this because it's not talking about Jesus being your salvation?
It's not even talking about Jesus in general.
It's not talking about Jesus at all, yeah. So that's the kind of shit I'd be worried about. That's how kind of like...
What would keep you up at night? Yeah.
Some of it would keep me up at night, but honestly, there were other things that would keep me up at night.
Yeah.
This was stuff that I'd be worried a lot because it would be things that I loved, but then I'm also like, but is it wrong? And then that kind of sucks. You know, it would just be stuff like that. At this time of my life, we lived on a farm. We had like 60 plus acres.
Yeah.
And we had started homesteading in like 2012, 2013. So at this time of my life, I did a lot of work on the farm. We had goats and horses. So I was out there every day. I was just used to going out in the mornings. I smelled like hay.
You never really smelled. I mean, the boots smelled weird, but like you never did.
I feel like certain jackets I wore started to
Oh,
like
the pockets would, because of the feed that you would keep in the pockets.
Sometimes I keep feed for the goats in my pockets so I could
and
just
your
like
fanny pack, your camo fanny pack you used to have.
Yeah, I should have written that down. I started falling in love with fanny packs before 17. I was like 14, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was around animals a lot. I really started expanding my love for animals even then. And I would do some, not veterinary stuff, but I would have to be around the goats when they were giving labor and like help with the kids, the kid goats.
And you would help the vet when he came over to like help with horses
the vet
and
was
stuff.
typically a woman actually. There was a time when I would have to give Sarah, one of the goats, a shot every day for a period of time when she was sick. And there was another time when we had another horse whose name was Ludi, and he had this huge gash in his back right leg. And it was the middle of winter time. And every day for 15 minutes, as according to the doctor or the vet, I had to give him like a water therapy, just cold hose water on his wound, and it healed over time. Wow. But like I was like in it with the animals, saw them every day, and I got used to what would have been unfamiliar animals. I got really used to them. Yeah. I remember one time in New Zealand in the zoo, I had seen a goat, and it was like so at home. I just went right up to it, and it was like loose in this pen that we were in.
Really?
And it just felt so like normal to go up to it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just another goat. But you know what I mean? It's like getting familiar with animals, because I was a teenager when we started to expand our like animals at our house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You were the goat lady, and I did the chickens.
Yeah. Birds suck. I just don't like birds.
They're
I'm
really
sorry
bad.
to any of our bird pet owners. I'm sorry. I just don't like birds.
They're
flighty.
They are. And I remember the really weird day when I woke up and I went to check on all the chickens because I was the chicken person. And I woke up and none of them had toes. They all had bloody stubs. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, what animal would come in here and just eat their toes and not like the rest of the bird? And I looked it up and they did it to each other. They literally were cannibals and pecked each other's feet.
I'm sure there's a reason for
really
that, right?
bad. Yeah.
Like we probably didn't do something right with the pen or
maybe. Like, I think it was like also like, seasonal. Like it was cold and like trying to stay warm, but then someone got mad. Like, you stubbed my toe, let me chew it off. It just wasn't. It wasn't a
chain reaction of like toe-tooing.
Yeah, basically.
Toe-tooing? Toe-tooing. It was a chain reaction of toe-chewing.
Toe-chewing.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. It was eclectic for sure.
Yeah.
Because during this time, we were also still in the Christian rock pop band that we had as siblings.
Yeah.
So we would be like farmers by day and then in a band at night.
Rock musicians at night.
Yeah, exactly. It was fucking bizarre. And then I also started getting into film scoring at the time. So it was really like the band, being a Christian, being on a farm, being able to drive a tractor was like kind of my whole identity at that time.
Yeah.
The other few things, at this time in my life, I was like super self-conscious about my body.
Yeah.
And I was at my former heaviest weight when Noah and I became friends. And I knew that I weighed more than him, which was part of the reason that I didn't want to be in a relationship with him for a long time. Because I thought that was shameful or wrong or that's not the way it's supposed to be kind of thing. Just like, the guy should be taller than you. Like everyone has those kind of weird pretenses. Like some people, I'm not saying everybody, but sometimes we have to unlearn those things. And in this case, I thought that it would be wrong if I didn't like weigh less or something.
Yeah.
I sort of got out of that when we started dating. Because as you'll see in my journal entry, I have a journal entry here I'll read in a second.
You would ask
that kind
me,
of explains
You'd
that.
be like, do you know any of the couples?
Yeah,
I think looking for
examples.
other examples. It's like,
this
isn't wrong.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I kind of convinced myself that it would be okay. But what's interesting is that when we started dating, I returned to like more extreme exercise and disordered eating. It's almost like that gave me another reason to kind of get back to that.
Because you were in a relationship now?
Yeah. So stakes are higher. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And I could never convince myself that anything I did was enough, and my body dysmorphia at the time was fucking deceiving, is what I have written down.
Yeah.
It was truly a losing battle. I also had panic attacks, and I didn't know what they were. That was something I didn't know. I knew at 14 that I had some severe bouts with OCD, like as a preteen. that I had kind of not really grown out of. I kind of like worked out of. I truly mentally worked out of. And that's another episode we'll have to do.
Yes. Yeah, we have to do that
one. It's just OCD related and anxiety related because that is a whole thing on its own. But I had panic attacks as a teenager and I didn't know that's what they were. And in my journal entry, I call them outbursts, like emotional outbursts. And at this point, I was a junior in high school, had been homeschooled from 6th grade to 11th grade. And this was right before my senior year when we started hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
So just to give you a little peek into the mind of 17-year-old Jac, this is a journal entry from April 24th, 2016. Are we ready for this?
Oh, my God,
weird.
yes.
Okay. All right, so here we go. I'm out on the dock, sitting on the dock. The tables are still not up. Haha. I think the tables were those picnic tables.
The picnic tables we used to have on the dock.
We had like a really square dock at this point. The farm was near a saltwater creek. And so we had like these picnic tables and I guess they were like dismantled or something for a storm.
What date did you say this was again?
April 24th. So
what year?
2016.
Okay. I was going to say like, was it after a storm? Was it after something?
I think it's
and maybe like
related.
The tables were down and
It's spring. So,
yeah.
You know. All right. So back to the entry. I actually just hung out with Noah. For some reason, I had this feeling that I should bring lunch/picnic kind of thing. We were meeting at the marina and stuff. We saw some friends near the end. It was a good visit, probably one of the best. I felt more comfortable than I usually am, and we ended up talking about some pretty serious/uncomfortable things. ... about us.
Oh, no!
And just to reiterate, Noah is my now husband. Okay. Okay, here we go. Lately, I've been thinking about him. Him, I, us, anyway. I think I'm starting to realize that I like him, if not something more.
Could this be love?
And that I've been letting things get in the way. Things that maybe aren't big things at all. Sounds like a fucking Dr. Seuss. Some things were in the way, but they weren't big things at all.
But kind of like a Hallmark Christmas movie.
It's both.
Yeah, it's both.
There are these moments I get. Even today. I just wanted to kiss him. Haha. ... It's true.
Aww.
And then there's the self-consciousness I have about myself and my weight. For some reason, though, I don't think Noah cares. And maybe I shouldn't either.
Aww.
I like how he gives me the space I need and knows I'm independent enough to make my own choices. He cares. He cares very deeply, and I believe that. And I haven't admitted this to anyone, but I love his hugs. There's something surprising on
his hugs.
No, there's something surprisingly strong about his embrace, and I truly feel safe. Today, I almost didn't want to let go. We ended up hugging twice, haha.
Oh my gosh.
But legit. Maybe. But legit. Maybe it's time I give it a go and see what happens. Here's the quote for this episode. Maybe I need to let go and let God.
Let God. Okay, that's like
God.
That's Hallmark Christmas movie if it was like done by a small town Christian church.
Dude. So that was a really weird peek into 2016-year-old me. Leah, who were you when you met?
Oh. Do we really have to? Okay.
Hells yeah.
Well, like you, very Christian, very by the book. Like,
yeah.
Cross your T's, dot your I's, or otherwise you're going to hell. So it was very much, no mercy. It was very...
No mercy.
It's just kind of dark for kids. It's a little much.
Oh, 100%.
I was recovering from an eating disorder, kind of. Like, when I met him initially, I was in the thick of it. Like, I was still really bad off. I had anorexia. And when we started dating later, like, I was coming out of it. I was 12 when I was anorexic, when I started to be anorexic. And I didn't start recovering till I was 16. And there was like, it wasn't just okay. You know, months later, like, I think that in itself, I'm still mindful of like.
I think stuff like that is an everyday battle a little bit. Yeah.
So like the recovery time, how long it took to recover, I don't have a timestamp on it.
But you were like starting.
I was starting to recover while we were in the relationship.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure when I was 2016-year-old me that I knew exactly what I was going to do in my adulthood life and that would never change. And I was absolutely sure of it. And everything about Christianity, I knew I would like never question. And everything was as it was going to be forever. It was just very like...
Definite.
Everything was very definite. That's such a good word. Yes. And like you, I daydreamed a lot. But I would also say... I was almost addicted to daydreaming, especially slightly before I met the hubs. I would daydream a whole lot. And I've recently found out that that's actually a way to cope with trauma by daydreaming, like out of your reality. And I didn't know that. So I would do that and I would run a lot. That was really a lot of my life. I would spend a lot of my waking hours of the day outside.
Or thinking about
it. Running. I would feel guilty if I didn't run. So I was therefore always thinking about it or always doing that. This is a trigger warning. I don't want to be triggering by any of this. I'm recovered from that now, but this was my mindset as a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid. Like you, I was kind of like a canned personality. I wasn't all of who I am now. I was like maybe bits and pieces, but like not, very canned. And
or selective maybe too.
Selective and kind of flat, sad, depressed. I was really depressed when I was a teenager.
When we look back at like family videos, like, you can kind of see
You can just kind of look and see it. It's like
it's
a
visible.
Thickness in the air. It was really weird. So a day in the life of Leah, I would wake up and I would stretch and I would run for I don't know how long, but it was normally before the sun went up. And then I would come back in and we would do our homeschooling and then I would practice guitar for 5 to 8 hours of the day.
Yeah.
So, I practice guitar a lot and band stuff, of course. And chickens, of course. And chickens, of course. Definitely insecure, but I didn't know why I was insecure. And I wasn't self-aware, like, at all. I just knew that I felt insecure and was, like, trying to...
I don't even know if we could have pointed out
why.
Like, I don't even know if we knew the word.
Probably not the word.
In terms of how we felt.
Just felt unstable, like unsure. Like,
unsure.
Like everything could come out from underneath you.
Yes.
So that's not a great feeling. I was very naive and impressionable.
Aw.
And I wanted to be a daddy's girl so bad.
What does that mean?
I wanted to have that dream relationship.
That came out of left field. I'm sorry.
I wanted to have that like dream relationship with like girls and their dads that you would see in movies. Like, I don't know. Like, it's all
I'm kidding. There's some people who have it.
You know, the people who don't listen to this podcast have that.
Hold on, no, wait. You just straight out said, I wanted to be a daddy's girl.
Is that not what that is?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. I just never saw that coming.
I mean, I just said I was naive and impressionable, and the naive part is still a little bit in there, so I didn't mean to like word that wrong if I worded it wrong.
No, you didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was totally the daddy's girl part that threw me.
Yeah. No, I wanted to be, I just wanted that kind of like dream dad and daughter relationship. That was really on my mind. So I was willing to kind of just do
anything to get it.
Anything to have that.
Oh, God.
That's really bad. That's too
I think
bad.
It's hilarious.
Oh, my God.
I think it's hilarious. No offense.
I say not anything, but like, I don't know. I did, though. That was a priority. Like, I wanted to feel that kind of
This is the first time we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Special love?
Like that, it was just, like in movies where it's like the girl could just lean her head on her dad's shoulder and like, oh, that's cute.
No.
I wanted that though, but like,
yeah, I wanted
no.
it. I was like, nah. Like,
like it couldn't happen, but I still kind of was holding on to that.
Like, maybe it could.
Maybe it could. Yeah.
Maybe it could turn into something like that.
Yeah, and I think hence why I made all my decisions for me. Yeah, exactly. Boundaries didn't exist.
Damn. This is news to me.
Oh, so. Really? Wait, you didn't know that?
I never knew you... Hold on. I had a similar wish.
Yeah.
The thing is that...
I pursued it a lot.
I had a false perception of what our relationship even was.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought in certain contexts that it was healthy when it wasn't. Like, there were certain things I thought was healthy with my parents that weren't healthy at all. And I just didn't know everything.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you know, looking back, everything makes more sense. But
everything is clear.
Like, I totally would have wished for more of the affection, because that's actually something that we've had to work on in my own romantic relationship, because we should talk about that actually a little bit. You and I never really hugged.
No, we never hugged.
Even though we loved each other
a
shit ton. Best friends. We talked about everything. Talking in itself, like being able to emotionally like decompress and talk and vent, was almost like a verbal form of hugging.
Yeah.
I feel like that you and I expressed, but we never really hugged to show the affection. That wasn't what we typically went to.
No.
So in a romantic relationship, I mentioned that I love his hugs. And it's also the first time that that's like happening a lot. I remember kind of having to adjust to just being touched more and being kissed. I'm like, this is all new. And sometimes it felt suffocating just because I wasn't used to any of it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I think as an adult, like over time, I think you and I have gotten like more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
But it's interesting because I think there was always part of us that wanted affection, but it just felt weird.
No how. I would also bake often and like all the time. I would bake on a regular basis. And it was because I could control what I was eating and knowing what was exactly in the food that I was eating, because I was so obsessed about the working out and
because I don't remember you eating all the time the things that you would make.
Right.
Sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Even if I knew somebody would like a certain thing, but like I saw the ingredients that were in it. So I was like, I'm not going to eat it. And again, I'm sorry for this. Is very triggering talk for anybody who could have been anorexic. And so we will put a trigger.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so I even got asked by my husband recently. He was like, you don't bake as much anymore. And he was like, you know, why? I was like, yeah, I totally just did that out of, I was trying to control what I ate. Not because I love to do it. It was literally just because of that.
So yeah, not a great motivation.
Mom was even over it and she was like, hey, honey, like, I just wanted to make sure, like, she didn't tell me this. Our youngest sibling conveyed to me that Mom was worried about this. She was like, I noticed that Leah doesn't, like, cook, like, at all. Like, nothing. Like, there's just, like, and I wanted to make sure, like, I felt, this is my impression of my mom. This is
she talks like that.
She doesn't. But just so you know, I'm talking about my mom. I want to make sure that I taught her enough. Like, she felt comfortable. And, like, I want to make sure she felt comfortable cooking. Like, I want to make sure I taught her well.
We don't know shit.
Anyway. Like, wait. But either way, I was like, no, like, I'm good. I just choose not to cook because I don't have the time and I don't want to. Like, all the people on Instagram that have all the beautiful dishes, it's because they want to cook.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to cook. So, but I did a lot of it back then.
I just love that your husband was like, hey, you don't bake anymore, and I really miss, like, such a dish.
And I did do it sometimes for gifts for people. I baked him a cake when we were dating.
It was a Smith Island cake.
The Smith Island
12
cake.
layers or some shit,
Yeah,
right?
it was a lot of time. This was a lot of work. It's the labor of love. And a lot of peanut butter. But yeah.
Good Lord.
This is something, as we've been writing down who we were versus who we are, I had no idea that this was a thing as I'm like making a list. And it was just kind of like a revelation for me.
Okay.
So I've always loved fashion. I always have, and I loved it then. And because we were a very Christian family, there were certain clothing items that were deemed unchristian, like leggings and wearing jeans that had some holes in them. Like I wasn't allowed to wear leggings to church.
Yeah, if at all, really.
If at all. Like, and then I'm like, but I want to wear leggings out, but like, we only go to church because we're homeschooled. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was a lose-lose.
It was church or a band gig, dude.
Right.
It was like, yeah.
High heels, like, I got so much, I don't know. It was just really difficult to actually explore that interest because it was so really limited. Like, I'm not even just, I mean, you and I are both wearing leggings now. Leggings are just comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
We couldn't wear jeans until we were like 12.
Yeah, to church.
Mom and Dad were weird about the jeans. No, I mean, in general, like, I didn't get my first pair of jeans until I was like 12.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then I think Mom said that was how she was brought up too. Like, she didn't get jeans until later or something. I can't remember what she said. One of our youngest siblings is like super expressive.
Super. And I've always been jealous of that.
Same.
I was like, because this is the thing. Sometimes I would experiment with cool looks.
Yeah.
Modest because, you know, very Christian, you know. Modest,
eyes up here.
but kind of like different looks.
Sure.
And I would get judged so hard for it. And sometimes the whole family would chip in because it's
sorry.
We don't think it's a cool look.
I'm sorry, boo.
I know you didn't mean it.
Huh?
I know you didn't mean it. Like, I know that was just like...
I don't even know what happened. But
I think... No, it's okay. I just think that...
I was probably right. Okay.
Oh my God. But I think...
No, I've never been good at fashion. You've always known what's up with that. Always.
And it wouldn't even be so bad now. Like, when we were growing up, when you judged somebody in our family, it was like, okay, now let's get in a corner and negatively bond over how weird we think that outfit was that she chose for today. And it's like, it just felt so catastrophic. Yeah. And that maybe you'd be less loved if you were judged by a family member.
Yeah.
And so, hence, I think now when I'm interested in something new or now in present day, I tend to be kind of secretive about it because I associate with like, oh, if somebody thought this thing that I'm interested in is weird, they're going to negatively bond about it. And
I will probably tease you, but to your face.
But to my face about it now.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny.
Yeah. About your TikTok.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about because like, I think it kind of...
Are we good?
Oh, we're
Do we
good.
need to have a makeup session right now on this podcast?
I thought you said something else.
Makeout session.
No.
Makeup.
No, we're good. But I just like realized that was a thing. So I was trying to be into fashion when I was a teenager, but like...
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to say here and now.
Okay.
In this recording. So we have proof.
Okay.
No, that truly, I'm sorry for any contribution I had to things that you were interested in and then either making you feel stupid for trying it or how you looked or anything.
Thanks, Dan.
I'll say too, like I didn't even try because I would have totally loved to have been more gothic or emo looking.
Yeah.
As a middle schooler.
Yeah.
Didn't even fuck with that. Like I just knew it wasn't gonna be allowed. Like it just wasn't gonna be allowed. There's no point.
Yeah.
Like there's no point in trying.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna get in trouble. So I admire the fact that you even tried to express yourself, you know? And I'm just sorry it was met with such hostility. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not your fault. Like, you know, your kids just trying to get through. It's not like you had any choice in the matter.
Do you remember a particular outfit?
It was
Are you gonna cry? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
It's so dumb.
You think it's so dumb?
It's so dumb. But it's true.
Okay.
I was wearing a ponytail and fedora. Oh, so good. And I was wearing a light blue shirt layered with like a gray tank top underneath it.
What's wrong with that? Oh, that sounds fine to me.
And I wore jeans and I had done something with the shirt where it was like tucked in the front and loose in the back. And I had an outer jacket over it. It looks so cool. But you see models all the time with like the tuck-in. It's anybody who knows fashion knows that's the thing. But I just got met with such
fucking battle.
Why'd you put your shirt that way? Looks like you just used the bathroom and you didn't. And you didn't wash your hands and you just forgot to untuck your shirt. Like, why are you wearing your shirt that way? It looks awful.
I'm sorry, dude.
And I'm like, but if I fix it, it just doesn't look the same. It, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, after that point, I would never try again. Like the reaction, I mean, it's funny, but it's like
now, funny.
But like as an impressionable teenager who's trying to look really cool, who doesn't go anywhere, and was using the one time that wasn't church to look cool and to be met with, oh my God, like it was just so bad.
I'm sorry.
So, God, you know. Not my best moment.
Man. I'm sorry, dude. Clearly not mine either, from how it seems like everyone ganged up on you. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so that happened. And as a teenager, whenever I tried to make decisions, it's like they were met with a lot of judgment or like, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. So I doubted myself a lot as an individual and as a teenager.
Same.
So, but that's what I got for like who I was.
Yeah. Are we ready to talk about who we are now?
Yeah. Hit me with something good.
Okay. So who is Jac now? Why is Jac? How is Jac?
Why is Jac?
Why is Jac?
Why is Jac? Jac, when did you get your nickname Jac?
I think that was when I was 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who you were and who
12,
you were.
13. I remember my grandma, who's no longer with us. I'm named after her. Her name's Jacqueline. And I remember her nickname was Jackie.
Yeah, and you hated that.
I hated it. And you know what? Part of it is because Dad hated it.
Really?
Yeah, he hated it first. But then I also don't like the way, no offense to anybody whose name is Jackie, but like
Jackie, the sound?
Yeah, it just sounded too nasal and it just didn't fit my personality.
Jackie, yeah.
Yeah, no. So I remember JB was something I tried.
Yeah, that was something.
Did not stick. But even Mom calls me Jac now. Like, she doesn't even say Jacqueline much. Like,
wow.
Like, that's how much people know me as Jac. And a lot of people I meet, it's just easier for them to call me Jac.
Call you Jac.
Yeah.
Jac of all trades.
Okay. So who I am now, this is such an interesting exercise that we've done here.
I know. I'm like, who?
So who I am now.
Who are you?
Who are I?
Who are I?
Who are I?
Wow.
I am 25 years old. I've been married for over 4 years.
You get a gold sticker. Sorry.
No, but it's more the years than I thought I would have had.
Yeah.
You know? I had persevered through 3 years of a long-distance relationship from like 2017 to 2019 while I was in college in New Zealand. And Noah and I have been through shit together, man. We've been through a lot of shit. Seen a lot of shit, you know?
Yeah.
I'm no longer very Christian.
Yeah.
I am agnostic / atheist. And here's my thing.
It depends on the day.
My thing is that I do not want to be so arrogant as to know everything. As to know how the fuck everything got started and what the fuck is the truth. Because the reality is not one of us can prove with like 100% certainty one thing or another. There's always an element of faith involved, even in not believing.
Right.
Right. Like, that's the whole concept. And in my life, trying to uphold this faith has done me so much damage in my life, my only tangible life that I'm in. And I had gotten to this place where I remember really thinking like, wait, what if this really is just another version of everybody else's cultural beliefs and religions? And what if this is just another variation? You know, it's not like the one, it's just another one. Yeah. And I remember being kind of shocked. And I'm also like, huh. Like, that kind of takes some pressure off.
Yeah.
Because it didn't do me any good. And I got to a place where I started to really question the validity of everything. And instead of trying to make it work with my faith, I felt like I could let it go and maybe be happier without sacrificing being a good person and bringing good to the world. Yeah. And trying to be Christ-like in a sense. I think that there are some things like in the Bible that aren't just straight up crap. There's some things that like are really interesting. In fact, I like to describe it as like the Old Testament. It's so different from the New Testament in that the New Testament isn't asking for people to stop murdering each other. Yeah. It's asking to not commit adultery by looking at somebody anymore. Yeah. We're being called to like a higher expectation of morals in a sense, you know, in some of the chapters. And so I just...
Not as barbaric. Like...
Yes. No, I think it shows the potential that humans have, right? To be... We're being asked the bare fucking minimum in the Old Testament. And then the New Testament, we're being requested to do things that maybe are a little bit more evolved. Yeah. You know? Yeah. In philosophy and psychology, what have you. Yeah. And I think that that's powerful. I think that if you look at it from that standpoint, that's actually a powerful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have questioned the literalness of everything. You know, that's where I'm at now. Does that mean that I try to shit on my mom's faith because she's still very much a Christian and she's relied on Jesus and God to get her through all the fucking shit she's been through?
Yeah.
No, like, I'm not here to take away anybody else's fucking happiness and anybody else's, like,
peace,
sanity and peace, because that's what I didn't feel. I didn't feel peace.
Right.
So who am I to fucking try to trash on someone else's?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say that I feel more peace now than I ever did.
Yeah.
And you might not like how I got there. That's okay. Like, you do you. But sometimes people have been through the other side of it.
Yeah.
And walked away for a reason. And I think that's something that people in a Christian faith or in a religion just need to remember.
I need to be sensitive to.
But I remember back when I was a Christian and back when that was such a big part of my life that there was a lot of judgment for people who walked away. You know, they're lost. You know, they made the wrong choice, you know?
Yeah.
And here I am, I would be considered one of those people, and yet I don't feel that I've made a tragic choice and that I'm lost. I feel more found than I ever have, but it's not like I can always convince people of that, right?
Right.
So you do you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take away your peace. Don't take away mine. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Respect.
And that also goes along the same lines of my husband is still a Christian.
Yeah.
Noah is still trying to find and rediscover his faith outside of what he grew up with. Again, like his own definition of things, right? Like we've had to relearn, unlearn,
you know,
choosing
rediscover for yourself. It's different. Yeah.
So I say this to be honest, and, you know, I am very different from them, but then that's the other thing that I think I'm relieved about is I used to take everything so seriously.
Yeah. Yep.
And, like, my goal is to not take everything so seriously anymore.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Same.
And I cuss a shit ton now.
Yes.
Don't give a fuck. And I love it. Like, I love being able to express myself more.
Yeah.
I feel more free.
Yeah.
You know, than I ever have. The other thing about Noah still being a Christian and me not so much is that we still have, like, similar values and similar aspirations as to the kind of people we want to be.
Right.
It's not like I stopped being a Christian and just want to murder the whole fucking, I don't know, like, population. But sometimes it feels like that's the extreme.
How people see it. Like you become uncivilized or something.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going to hurt other people and be a selfish cunt with, like, no actual empathy. It's like, no, you can be a Christian and not be empathetic. You can be a Christian and be a fucking asshole because you've seen it. Yep. I mean, that's what the whole Pharisees are. Yeah. They're hypocritical and they're fucking assholes.
And that's
they're
who Jesus did not like the most. Yep.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's a lot more Christians that are that and don't even see it like that.
No.
And that's a problem. And that's a lot of people running the show. So it's just,
toxic.
Deep breaths, people.
Yeah, deep breaths.
I would say I'm a little bit less of a dreamer now.
Yeah. You're more of a doer.
I'm more of a doer.
Do you have that written down?
I do.
Did
you see it?
No, I just know that that's you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm more of a doer, I would say. I'm also a productivity addict.
And I will say, too, it's like, it wasn't like we were daydreamers because we were lazy. Like, we
fought so hard not to be lazy.
Right.
We were very anti-lazy.
We were just dreaming of getting out of our reality and being free to make other choices.
Exactly. You don't have to daydream and dream about some other life if you feel more content in the one you're in.
Right.
You know, there isn't that
and free to live the one that you
want to. Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
But anyway, productivity guru.
I'd say I'm a productivity addict, but I still am trying to be more easygoing in my personality. I don't want to be somebody who makes people feel stressed. I try to be somebody who people can kind of feel like, oh, I can be myself around now because Jac's here. Like, it's not, you know, shit, Jac's here.
Pressure.
Not that I always can say that. I'm just saying that that's what I try to be.
Yeah.
Also, a recent joke is that I'm sort of like an old white man in my personality. Noah says that I'm more sexist than him. And a lot of it is because, as I talk about in, I think, the previous episodes, I viewed femininity as weakness. And so I've struggled sometimes to embrace that part of myself.
Yeah, you're working on it.
I'm working on it. And sometimes I'm an old white man, I guess.
Okay.
It's just, But that's the thing, as I'm like a progressive old white guy.
Yeah, you are.
I usually say it when I'm cranky and I'm like being kind of like a dick. And then I say I'm an
Who's an older like white guy who is very outspoken?
Any politician. I don't want to be Trump. That's not what I'm going for.
Yeah, no.
But maybe Tom Hanks?
No. You're not Tom Hanks.
Hang on, let me just again.
You're not Tom Hanks. You are...
I'm not Tom Hanks.
I mean, maybe you're like a progressive Trump. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, God. I don't want to be Trump.
Mostly all the like outspoken old white dudes that I'm around are very conservative. And it's like you would be that, but like liberal.
I think here's what I mean when I say that, is that like Noah has this, if you've seen my Instagram, like you can see like there's this like electric ball thing that's electricity and stuff, and I'm scared of it. Like I don't want to touch it, and like he tries to convince me to touch it, and I'm not going to.
Right.
And I'm stuck in my ways when it comes to that. And he's
stuck in your ways, yeah.
Sometimes, but like I'm also trying to improve. But there's some things I just know my limits. Like there are some things where it's like, look, I appreciate you trying to expand my knowledge, but no,
thank you. Yeah,
that's it. That's it in a nutshell.
That makes sense.
I like to think that I'm still pretty funny. I genuinely enjoy making other people laugh, and like it makes me feel good to see people I love in less emotional pain and more like physical pain from laughing. You know, those abs.
Red in the face and like
you're like, oh my God. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
That is a great feeling.
I don't have a farm anymore, but I do have a fur baby.
Babies.
And Noah and I definitely spoil her too much. Our cat, Heyyy,
you just got that cat stroller and you've been like rolling her around the room.
Yeah, we literally have a cat stroller for her now.
It's so cute.
But yeah, we definitely spoil her too much. And Heyyy is our cat. She's a pain in the ass, but she is such a joy.
Yes.
Wouldn't do life without her.
Heyy's amazing.
Yeah. And since being 17, I've had to do a lot of work to rediscover who I really am.
Yeah, same.
I had a bit of an identity crisis when Christ wasn't the center of my universe anymore.
That makes sense.
You know? Music and audio and working in those fields are still huge parts of my life, but not my life.
Yeah.
I'm more than the things I can do with the things I achieved or haven't achieved. That's something that I've really tried to work on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Amen, sister. No, yes, that's so good.
Oh my goodness. I am still on a journey with my relationship to my body.
Yeah.
I've gained more weight throughout the years and would have been absolutely mortified to see the scale at any time prior to 2022. But I just don't hate myself like I used to, you know? And Noah's still into me. So, I mean, it's like, we're all good. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not as scary as I thought.
And you're not a bitch to you. Like, you're not...
I'm trying to be less of a bitch to me.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I'm also on Zoloft now for anxiety and stuff, and the panic attacks are less. I'm on birth control because I have PCOS. That's another discovery I had in 2022. And so there's a balance I'm always searching for where I want to improve different physical and mental aspects of my life, but in helpful or healthy ways. I just don't want to like improve one aspect to a detriment of another.
Like losing one to...
Because I'm not trying to be a dick, okay? But I have gotten a little irritated with people saying, take care of your depression, exercise. And
Who?
Well, people will say, you know, exercise can help with depression and anxiety.
Look,
here's what I'm saying. There are cases where I believe that can be true. I'm not trying to discount other people's experiences, but what I will say is that in my worst mental state, I was in the fittest shape of my life.
Yeah.
That did not make me happier. It did not take away my anxiety. It did not take away my insecurity.
Yeah.
In fact, I obsessed over things.
Right.
Like, for certain people or certain mindsets or just where you are, that combination of where you are in your life and what exercise or certain physical stuff does to you, it doesn't just automatically make things better. It really depends on the person. So this is where
and the relationship that person has with their self.
That's what I mean. So like that's when it's like you can't just take advice that people say to anybody and assume it's going to work for you.
One size fits all.
It's not like that in life. It's just not. It's rarely one size fits all.
Yeah.
So like seriously, do consider different things to do for your own health, because I felt like, Leah, it got to a point where I'm thinking, I can't even think that it's not helping because it's just supposed to. Like, in my mind, I was discounting how unhelpful it was just because it's supposed to be helpful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because different people in our life would just be like, well, you know, exercise and it's so good for you. And
it's supposed to be good.
And we did it. Like, Leah and I that's been such a big part of our lives for a long time. And in 2023, the thing I want to do different is to embrace it in the most fun, easy. Like, I want to not make it this battle and become obsessed again with things that I used to be obsessed about. But yeah, I'm not trying to say that exercise isn't useful or good.
Right.
Seriously, like, you got to do what's good for you. You know what I mean? I'm just tired of hearing general advice, thinking that it's going to do miracles when I'm telling you. And this is how frustrating it is, because there was a point in my life where I'm doing everything right.
Right.
I'm on top of my time. I'm reading. I'm outside, you know, every day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting the sunshine.
With animals.
With animals in New Zealand, walking every day to school.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting this exercise, and fuck, I am at my worst.
Yeah.
So it's okay as well if something that everyone's telling you to do doesn't actually work. There are other things that will. It just might not be that. Like, don't give up hope on trying to figure that stuff out for yourself either. Because it starts to feel fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, you start to be like, what the hell else is there? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've had mental health issues for, you know, over a decade of my life, and I've never been medicated for it ever.
Yeah.
I've had very limited therapy, and I should have had more. But my bottom line is that you can find other ways of helping yourself. And me at 17 didn't have certain issues that I did at 20.
Yeah.
But also, I'm way stronger, self-aware, authentically confident at 25, at arguably more uncertain, or, you know, I'm not, I don't know, working out as much at this very moment as I did at 17, and yet all these other really beautiful things are going on. And my 17-year-old self would probably be kind of like, what the fuck? Like, or not what the fuck, but
are you really happy?
Yeah, are you really happy? Are you just saying that? Are you really, you know, would be questioning the authenticity of how I'm here. Yeah, and how I got there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not what my 17-year-old self thought would be needed to get there.
Would be the right way to go about it.
Would be the right way.
Yeah, you can't let other people dictate what you should do for, like, your mental health and or what they think you need to do. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But that's how I think we grew up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, again, very different place now than then.
Wow. Who I am now, gosh. I'm so grateful we can even say that.
I know.
Honestly, I can't imagine if it was any other way. But I'm working on it. I'm working on faith stuff, and I think I always will. Like, I think back when I was a teenager, it was like, oh yeah, this forever, and like, it's just, I'm gonna always feel so secure and sure of what I'm gonna do with my career and like about my faith and everything. Like, those are two things that will never be shaken. And I question literally everything now. I question things all the time. When I say that I'm questioning everything and anything now, I'm mainly talking about religious stuff. But there used to be a time, like when I was a teenager, who I used to be, I wouldn't even allow myself to question or doubt because I thought that meant that you already gonna go to hell if you dare think a thought like that. And the thing is, it's like now if I'm not okay with an answer to something, I don't settle with it when it comes to Christianity and stuff. It's the biggest thing you can claim for your life, and you have a right to feel and question it, to like really know for a fact that it's true. I know that I will spend a lot of my life continuing to learn and to continue to ask the tough questions. And it kind of further what I'm talking about here, Andrew Garfield, he has this amazing quote coming from this interview he did for his new movie.
Is this year or, I mean, 2022?
2022. 2022. And he brings it all home for me when he says, to be honest, certainty about anything is the most terrifying thing to me. You think about Thomas Merton, the great Trappist monk and philosopher, really. His doubt was his greatest ally. He was always constantly doubting. And I think a life of faith is not a life of certainty. A life of faith is a life of doubt. And I think it is so healthy to doubt. It's so healthy to doubt oneself. It's so healthy to doubt about any assumption we make about how to live. What I mean when I say that certainty scares me is that certainty starts war. Certainty starts war in behalf of ideology. Certainty is I know and you don't. That's the scariest thing to me and what a human being is capable of doing.
I love that. Absolutely love it.
I try to be really open-minded. Right now, so much of my Christian faith, everything I've thought to be true about Christianity was rooted in religious trauma. Yeah. And so to choose these things healthily, it's like you have to kind of like unlearn and relearn. And right now, I'm not exactly like at the most peace with my spiritual life, but I'm about Jesus. Like, that's what I know I can say for sure is that, like, I'm about Jesus and, like, the fact that he existed. Like, there was some historians that, like, were taking record of his life and what he was doing, and they couldn't deny that he existed. What really spoke to me in high school, a class that I was in, regarding Christianity and regarding faith, I was in apologetics class. And an atheist historian, like it was during the time of Jesus, had to record him rising from the dead, even though like he was not a believer, like he saw, like he had heard of it happening from other people and like had to write it down. And it was just, that stuck with me. So all I can say is that I'm a fan of Jesus, but like, I don't have the answers to like all the big stuff. I don't. And I'm working on feeling more at peace about all the stuff that comes with Christianity. But I'm not there yet. Who I am now, I am recovered from anorexia. I hadn't relapsed in any way. You know, still have to be actively mindful of that, but I can say that, and that's really nice. I did graduate from college with a music degree, and I also know now that what I graduated with, a bachelor's in music and a focus in worship leadership, doesn't mean that that is my trajectory for the rest of my life. Like, that's okay if that changes.
Right.
And that's not bad.
No.
Or that's not wrong.
It's okay to adjust and to pivot and to change.
Right. Right. I am a dog mom, and I love her, and I love creating. I've been with the Hubs for 9 years and married for almost 4. Come this June, it'll be 4. And that's a blessing in itself. And I've been able to change the way that I feel about exercise. And I'm not as guilty when I don't feel guilty anymore when I don't do XYZ, X amount of miles or whatever.
X amount of calories.
X amount of calories, all that stuff. No, I just do what I love to do. I like to bike outside and it's pretty. And I like to walk and look at sunsets. And
you enjoy those things.
I genuinely enjoy those things. And like you said, like I don't want to pressure anybody I'm around. I don't want them to feel pressured like they have to do a certain thing or be a certain way. I, as a whole, feel more free in my personality and in what I decided to do with my life. And that's
awesome.
I mean, that in itself is a life changer.
Yeah.
I don't cook anymore. But the biggest things is that I genuinely trust myself more in my decision making. And if anything, I get really pissed at people who question me. And I'm like, nah, I know what I need.
Yeah.
And I get really short with that. And
good.
So
because there was a time when we would have been like, maybe they're right.
Maybe they're right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just like,
done with it.
Excuse me?
Good.
Hello? I do have more anxiety now than I do have depression. Like back when I was a teenager, it was more depression. Now it's more anxiety, but working on it. And I'm more confident in who I am in my decision making and like how I look, and I don't seek as much validation as I used to. And that's big. It's really big being on your own team.
Right.
One of my biggest flaws, I think, as an adult, and what we were talking on earlier, is that I can be slow to really share my interests or the intimate, I don't know, my thoughts or whatever with people who are close to me, just because I don't want to be judged. Mm-hmm. And that can come across like I'm secretive or like maybe not trustworthy or something. Mysterious. And Mom even said that. She was like, what did she say? She said something and called me mysterious. And I was like, oh, like I didn't know that that's how it
came off.
So I'm trying to work on that. That's like something that I'm trying to be more mindful of. But I've worked really hard to not take myself so seriously. It's still something that I'm actively working on. But like I'm all about having fun and making memories with the people that are close to me and new people that I want to meet in my life and just having a good time. Really just like letting loose and enjoying life for what it is while we have it.
It's okay to enjoy life. I think sometimes that we have, especially when you grow up taking Christianity so seriously, it's like you're just looking forward to the next one, or you're supposed to just prepare for the next one, for this afterlife. And I think you and I have both, in different ways and in similar ones, just finally learned or are learning how to really enjoy life right now, what that means for us, and how to like live it without having regrets by the time that we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm genuinely beginning to like who I am as a person.
Good.
I try to put a lot of thought into how I think of people and what they might need from me. And I know that if I was on the receiving end of that, I would value that. And so I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be more gentle with me, you know?
Yeah.
So I like my trajectory, where I'm headed. I think I've worked a lot on some foundational pieces that needed to be workshopped.
Yes.
And reworked quite a bit. And it's not finished, but I also don't think it ever will be, because that's also part of the beauty of life and evolving.
Right. Love that. So in part two.
Is this our first part two?
I think so. This is this is our first part one.
Yeah. Touche. It's true.
So
can't have the Old Testament without the New Testament.
Touche. Yeah, so in part two, I guess we'll talk about our perspectives before we got married.
Yes.
Versus now being married.
Yeah.
And what we would kind of tell ourselves maybe before we ended up getting married. Like, you know what I mean? So for now, I guess that's a wrap, right?
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you. And don't worry, we'll have another follow-up here because there's some more we want to share along this topic. So.
Yes, more to the story. We love you.
We're rooting for you.
And you matter. Thank you guys.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.